Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Real Time Football. My name is Real Time. I'm going to bringing you my predictions for game week 18 and also game week 19. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and leave a like on this video. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well when you subscribe and get notified every time we upload or start a live stream. Now, this weekend, I am on holiday. So I will be missing the round of fixtures. I will also be missing Brentford versus Liverpool, possibly on Monday. And I would not have had a chance to record the other video. So I thought I'm going to compact these into two predictions videos into one. So this one will last about 20 odd minutes, I'd say. I'm not going to go too slow because I've got stuff to do. So let's get straight onto it then. Game week 18 we'll start off with, and I'm starting off with West Ham versus Brentford. Now I've gone for West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Why? West Ham had a poor season. I think Brentford have been a lot better in all areas, really. West Ham have been shocking this season. Shocking. Now, the last win they had was a 2-0 win over Bournemouth, West Ham. Okay? But Brentford did the double last season, and that's concerning for me. You know, it's not singing. You know, they lost to United, Palace, Leicester, and 3-1 to Arsenal as well. Some really poor defeats all around this season, and I think that West Ham are in a relegation battle. They're in 16th place at the moment. They could quite easily go into the relegation zone, and Brentford, on the other hand, they've only lost one. They lost to Aston Villa, that's it. Then they've drew 1-1 with Wolves, drew 2-2 with Forest, massive 2-1 win over City. Should have beaten Tottenham, but drew 2-2. They've had a really good season. They're sat in 10th. So, look, it's going to finish West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Let's move on to Liverpool versus Leicester. Leicester were rock bottom at the start of this season, and they did not start well after the World Cup break. So for this time round, you know, I think that Liverpool as well have had a really poor season. So many poor draws and defeats. You know, they've not been the same Liverpool this season. They're sat in 6th, only on 25 points, 4 points behind Man United, and I'm concerned for Liverpool. Maybe they might be able to come back trail, but I'm going to have to say Liverpool 2, Leicester 0. Sorry, but 2-0 Liverpool. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Wolves versus Manchester United. Wolves should be rock bottom. Were rock bottom for a while. They've been shocking as well this season. Boring football team to watch. Good win over Everton, though, but boring, really poor football. The defence is gone. Their attacking is gone. They barely score. And Manchester United, to be fair, have had a good season since they lost 4-0 to Brentford. So, Wolves 0, United 3. AFC Bournemouth taking on Crystal Palace next. That's a 3:00 game. Bournemouth have had a really good season. The two defeats they've had, 2-0 to Chelsea and 2-0 to Newcastle, have just not looked convincing. And they played really well against Newcastle last time in the Premier League. But to lose that Carabao Cup fixture in the way they did, they had a go, but they weren't the same Bournemouth as before the break. And I think Bournemouth have been hit by the World Cup break. I was expecting to get someone against Chelsea, but they give nothing. So, look, I can't see Bournemouth losing to Crystal Palace, but I can see a hard game. But I do think it'll finish 1-1. So AFC Bournemouth 1, Crystal Palace 1. Fulham have been tremendous this season, absolutely tremendous. They're sat in 8th at the moment. I think they've had a really good season. I think they've been one of the top teams. Fulham are not going to get relegated. No way can I see that happening. They've had a really good start to the season. Big 3-0 win over Palace on Monday. And yeah, I'm going to have to say another 3-0 to Fulham because they've been absolutely brilliant this season. They've had a couple of defeats to Man United and Man City, but you'd expect them to lose those games. But they had a go. They had a real good go with City, especially away. They struggled a bit more against Man United, but I thought Fulham played brilliantly against City. And I'm going to have to say 3-0 Fulham. Home advantage. City up against Everton. I'm going to go for the usual. City are second at the moment. City are a great side. Everton, not so much. Really poor defeat to Wolves. City 5, Everton 0. Newcastle taking on Leeds United. Now, I don't want to write Leeds off. But I really, really think that Leeds are going to struggle to Newcastle because Newcastle, as I infer, they've had a really good season. They've only lost 1 to Liverpool and Anfield. They've had a really good season. And as to of Leeds in perspective of winning big matches, they've won. They broke a huge record at Anfield. And to be fair, they had a good go in the first half against City, but the second half they just fell apart. They lost 3-1, which is really, I'm concerned, but I'm not. Look, at the end of the day, Leeds are all right. They're not going to get relegated, I don't think. But Newcastle have been on another level this season. I'm going to have to say Newcastle 3, Leeds 1, because in comparison to last season, Newcastle have been tremendous. A real improvement since that takeover. Almiron is firing like you wouldn't believe, and Newcastle are changed side. Eddie Howe is creating something at that football club, and I think that Newcastle will smash it. 3-1 Newcastle. Sorry, Leeds, I love you, but look, I can't write Newcastle off. Brighton taking on Arsenal. Now, we lost 3-1 in the Carabao Cup. I don't want to talk about it. Terrible defeat. We played our kiddie side, and we weren't good enough in all aspects of that match. We were not good enough. We didn't compete properly. We took a 1-0 lead. We ended up losing 3-1. It's almost like we wanted to lose that match. This time, though, I think that even though we've not got Jesus and we struggled a bit against West Ham first half, I have to say, I think that we should be getting all 3 points in the Amex no matter what. And okay, Brighton have got the better record, which is true. But I think that based on this season, no matter what the circumstances, we should be winning this fixture. And I think that we will. So I'm going to have to say Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Tottenham taking on Villa. Tottenham, poor draw to Chelsea, to Brentford. They were really poor first half, managed to get an equaliser late on through Hojbjerg, but they've not been good enough. I mean, look, they've lost 2, drawn 1. I thought that the defeat to Newcastle, poor at home, and a really poor game against Liverpool as well. At home, they managed to only just beat Bournemouth 3-2, and they really should have lost to Leeds. How on earth they won 4-3, I have no idea. This time, though, I'm sorry. Villa, they beat Man United, they beat Brentford, but Villa have not been great this season. They don't play good football, and it's Tottenham 5, Villa 0. Forest taking on Chelsea. Forest, convincing. First half, convincing against Manchester United, but not quite good enough. Lost 3-0. They did get a big win against Crystal Palace, drew 2-2 at home to Brentford, lost 5-0 to Arsenal away, beat Liverpool 1-0. Look, see, I don't think Chelsea have been as bad as Liverpool in certain perspective. Both of them have been bad this season, but in different ways. And I think that Chelsea have been bad, but not in a way for me to see them losing to Forest. And I thought that they beat Bournemouth really well, played well in the match, Chelsea. And I think that anyone who can beat Bournemouth, who before the World Cup were tremendous, can beat Forest away or at home. So Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 2. Let's move on then to game week 19 in a second. Let me just quickly grab the thing. So we're playing at home next. We're playing at the Emirates. Our next match is against Newcastle United. I think that, well, we'll go on to that in a minute, but first we're going to take on Brentford. I think that we'll struggle against Newcastle. So yeah, game week 19 now. And I think we're going to start with Brentford versus Liverpool. Brentford have had a tremendous season, as I mentioned, for the West Ham match. And I think they've been brilliant, to be honest with you. Lost a couple, drawn a couple, won some big matches. Beat Man City, incredible. And I think that anyone who can beat Man City, especially away, can most certainly beat Liverpool, because Liverpool have been terrible this season. Man City haven't. So what I say is, how on earth are Liverpool going to come out of anything from that match? I think they'll go 1-0 up. Brentford will come back and turn it around to make it 2-1. I think that Brentford will walk Liverpool in the end. 1-0 early on and then 2-1 finish. I think that Brentford have been tremendous. And I love to see Ivan Toney. I love to see all them Danish players and Ivan Toney and all them linking up together. Thomas Frank is a fantastic manager. And I can't see nothing other than Brentford 2, Liverpool 1. They've been tremendous this season. They were tremendous last season. What an addition to the Premier League Brentford have been. Arsenal facing Newcastle next. Arsenal, fantastic season. Top of the league. Best we've been since 2003. I think it's like 1945 last time we were I don't know. Top of Christmas, something like that. I have no idea. But this one is a fixture which I think that we will really struggle in. It'll give us a test. But I think that we should and will beat Newcastle. Because at the end of the day, if Newcastle didn't have that takeover, we'd be walking them on a dog lead. Literally, we'd be walking them with a lead. They'd probably be sat at 17th. We were poor at St James's last season. I felt like the 2-0 defeat was really bad. But I think that we can overcome and overpower this Newcastle side if we all stick together as a team, all the players, and we get the job done and be a team. It'll be difficult, but I think that Arsenal will win 2-0. Fair play to Newcastle, to be fair. They've had a tremendous season, again, just like Brentford. But I think that we should and will win. Everton taking on Brighton and Hove Albion next. Everton, they've been all right, but that defeat, whether they beat opponents as Man City, which is unlikely, or not, I think that defeat to Wolves was poor. And Brighton have had a good season besides the defeat to Charlton in the Carabao Cup. I feel like that Brighton will walk Everton here. So yeah, Everton 0, Brighton 3, because Brighton have been tremendous this season yet again. Only the defeats to Aston Villa and Man City, smashed Chelsea 4-1, beat Wolves, and beat Southampton 3-1 like a team away from home. And I think that it's going to be another happy away day for Brighton. Leicester, not good enough this season. Been all right. Good win against Forest, 4-0. But they've had a horrible season. Horrible start to the season. Good end before the World Cup. Bad start, losing 3-0 to Newcastle. And something, I'm going to have to say Leicester 0, Fulham 3, because Fulham yet again have been tremendous. I think that they will beat Crystal. I think they will beat. I think that they will beat Southampton. And to be fair, I think they should be beating Leicester as well. So 3-0 Fulham. United, Bournemouth, I mentioned it for game week 18. Bournemouth, really bad start after the World Cup. I think it's affected them majorly. And, I don't want to be harsh against them. All right, because the caretaker manager who's taking care at the moment, he's great. He's been brilliant. What a turnaround since Scott Parker left the club. But Bournemouth have struggled against the big sides, and that was shown against Chelsea. They were not good enough against Newcastle. They weren't as good as they were in the Premier League in that Carabao Cup defeat. And something tells me that Bournemouth need a morale boost or something like that, because they've been struggling since the World Cup ended. So United have, since the 4-0 win over Brentford, as I mentioned, brilliant. Rashford is a reborn player almost. He looks like he's smiling. He's having a fantastic season, and I think that Manchester United will walk Bournemouth through the park. Manchester United 4, AFC Bournemouth 0. Southampton taking on Nottingham Forest. Southampton have been not good enough this season at all. Forest, neither so. But Forest have been better. Ever since that 1-1 draw of us, I thought they would be tremendous in that game as well, second half. Lost to Crystal Palace, expected. 4-1 to Newcastle at home, not good enough. Lost 3-1 to Liverpool away, expected, but lost 3-1 to Brighton at home, not good enough, need to do better. From Forest, that 1-0 win against Liverpool really showed who Forest were. Some of those home wins they've had been tremendous. They lost 5-0 to us, which is not a surprise. They drew 2-2 with Brentford. I thought they did really well to hold off Brentford. Beat Crystal Palace, huge win for Forest. Lost 3-0 to Man United away, which is expected. Look, it might not be 2-1, but I think that Forest are better than Southampton this season. So, and I think that Forest will do it, because in that first half, in fact, in certain parts of the game against Manchester United, as much as they lost 3-0, that disallowed goal showed how good they were in the first half. I thought they were pressing well. I thought they played the ball nicely. So only when they conceded, when they started to look a bit slippy, sloppy. So it's yet another one of those. Look, you've been bad this season, but you've not been that bad. And I think you'll win this, because, you've been better. As much as you've been bad, you've been better than this side, who, well, Southampton in the relegation at the moment. So to a Forest, I think. Leeds versus West Ham. I'm sorry, West Ham fans, but you've not been good enough. Your club has really gone downhill since second half of last season, to be fair. I don't know what's happened, but you need to sort it out. Whether it's David Moyes being sacked, who knows? But you've not been good enough. Some of the defeats you've had have been terrible. Leeds beat Chelsea at home, beat Liverpool. They've had some good wins, and brush aside the defeat to Man City, and whether or not they win the game against Newcastle, which I don't mean they will, I think they should be beating West Ham. Leeds 3, West Ham 0. Villa versus Wolves, two teams who've not been good enough this season. Unai Emery coming into Villa, I think that will have an impact at some point. But for the time being, I'm going to say Villa 1, Wolves 1. I can't separate these two sides. Palace taking on Tottenham. Tottenham, good start to the season, cracky start to the season. They were in it, top three, but they started to fall downhill a bit, and that was ever since they got defeated by us. Had a couple of bad defeats to Newcastle, Liverpool, etc., etc. But Palace have, Palace have been Palace, and I think that Palace, whether they need a new manager, they definitely need some more players in that squad. I think that they need some more youth in there or something like that, but they just have that lack, Palace. And I'm going to have to, as I said last season for this fixture, it's going to finish Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 3, and we'll finish off with Chelsea, Man City. Chelsea ain't beating City. Chelsea 0, City 2. And that's it. So game week 18 and 19 predictions all done. 2 game weeks in which could provide excitement, deliciousness, ludicrously tasty, these 2 game weeks. Let's see how City do. Let's see how Arsenal do. Let's see how Newcastle do. Let's see how everyone does. Are Wolves now ready? Is it a case of the World Cup's gone? Maybe that World Cup break has affected Wolves in a good way. Maybe Southampton on something. Maybe Villa are going to improve under Unai Emery. I don't know. But I hope you all have a great weekend, everyone. You'll be watching this on the Friday as I'm away, because I'm going to set it for 6 o'clock. And just, enjoy the football. I'll be back on Monday or Tuesday. I get back on Monday, but I'm not sure what time, because I don't know where I'm going. Of course, I'm going on a mystery tour on holiday. I might leave some videos on YouTube or IGTV or Twitter or somewhere like that. But the Instagram accounts. I'll just leave the banner up for a split second so that you can all see what the socials are. So there you go. Those are the socials down below. I'll leave some videos on one or all of those, including the YouTube. And look, I'm sorry, I can't do it this weekend, but I'm having a break. I'm having a holiday. I hope Arsenal beat Brighton. I will be watching the game. Yeah. And I really hope we beat Newcastle as well. So all have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back on Monday or Tuesday. Make sure you leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button if you're new. Let's get back to 500 because we have slipped down to 497. We were on 500, slipped back down. What is going on with that sub count? I swear. So anyway, peace out. I'll see you on Monday or Tuesday. Bye-bye.